Have you ever thought about how cool it would be to chop like giant stack of wood like they do like people who do karate or kung fu, and like they do like the ha, and then like they like smack it and it breaks. I never know if that's actually fake or if that's actually true. It doesn't matter. It still looks cool, and I would love to do it if I could. But I am scared to break my hand, so I don't think that'll ever come true. But who knows? Maybe it will. Anyways, hello everybody. This is That Manga Dude, and welcome to another reading log. And this is the reading log for April 2025. And while I didn't read as much as I typically do in a month, I still managed to read almost 40 volumes, which I find to be very impressive, and it was a lot of very, very good stuff for the most part. You'll see as we get into this video, but it's gonna be a good one, so let's get started right now. Okay, so the first manga that I read in April of 2025, that is going to be the lovely, the wonderful, the amazing dun, 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 dun. This is volume 12 from Yukinobu Tatsu. We are getting into, I want to say, I highly doubt that we're in Endgame, but we are getting a kind of like a big climactic battle going on for this current arc. Everybody's fighting super hard. It's going to be super awesome. There's already been a lot of great scenes, and yeah, I'm excited to see how this arc is going to end and how we move into the next arc. Because it's going to be extremely exciting. Alright, up next, decided to read the first volume of My Dressup Darling from Shinichi Fukuda, and I did read this part of a upcoming video where my friends chose some manga for me to read, and then I would review and choose who I think had the best choice of manga. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I actually really liked My Dressup Darling. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was very enjoyable. The characters are great. The art's pretty solid across the board. I could do without the fan service, but to be fair, there actually isn't as much as I was expecting, to be completely honest. But yeah, I'll talk more about that in that video, which is coming up soon. Alright, another one that my wife actually picked up. This is the first volume of Chihaya Furu. This is the bilingual comic, so this is the English and Japanese version together, so which is really, really cool. I mean, this is like the only way you can read English print, by the way. You can read it digitally through, I believe, Kadancha, I believe who it is. I want to say yes. Yes, it is Kadancha. I don't know why I'm asking that question, because I literally read Kadancha bilingual comics. But this first volume was pretty solid. I actually really enjoyed it. I think our main character is very likable, and I'm excited to see how her character is going to grow throughout the series. I will say it is difficult to read a bilingual comic personally, especially for a series that relies heavily on the writing itself, because a lot of the Karuta cards have like poems and stuff like that. So, you know, there's a lot of I feel like there's a lot of like hints and stuff about the story hidden within the cards as we move throughout the volume. So it was a little bit lost on me personally, but I did actually enjoy it. I think the art is really good, and it leaves on a massive cliffhanger, which is flipping crazy, but I would love to see this in print someday. So Kadancha, how about you get on it, okay? Alright, up next, this is what I was talking about when I was saying, you know, I read a lot of great stuff except for some stuff. And that is going to be the first volume of Reincarnation Colosseum. The weakest skill conquers the strongest women and creates a harem, from Saizo Harawata and Azunta. And I'm going to be completely honest, I was provided this for free from Yen Press, so I do appreciate that they provided me with a free copy of a manga. However, this quite possibly might be one of the worst things I think I've ever personally read. I don't find very much merit in reading this. I did not enjoy it at all. I thought the art was fine. The story is so whatever. The writing is, I'm going to say, borderline offensive, personally. I know, blah, 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 oh, this is like basically smut, oh, you're not supposed to take it seriously, but it doesn't really play itself, too far into satire, so it kind of feels like, just weird. I don't know. I didn't like it. I thought it was too much, personally. I think the designs are just over the top, ridiculous, and I just didn't like, I really just did not like this. And I don't typically, you know, I say with a lot of series that, you know, everything has there's a cup, it's not my cup of tea, when I don't like it. But this is one of those series that I straight up, I don't see any merit with it. I think the premise is disgusting and gross, and I would not suggest this to anybody, personally. But, you know, if you like it and you know, if you read it and you like it, that's your prerogative. But for me personally, this is a big no for me, boss. Alright, coming up next, I read the first volume of Chained Soldier from Takahiro and Yohei Takamura. This was another one that was chosen by one of my friends, and I also enjoyed this one as well. It's got a lot of fun action. Art's pretty solid as well. Once again, another one of those ones where I'm like, I could do without the fan service, but it is what it is. But I would be interested in reading this, I think, more. Just probably not actively reading it, because it is fun, but I'm not like completely sucked in. Follows a story about this guy who ends up kind of getting roped into this world, because the world is split into like these two worlds, where like there's the human world and this kind of like demon-like world, and he accidentally gets sucked in, then ends up becoming a part of her like team, because she can like turn other things into slaves in a way, or into like chained up, and they become like super powerful because she like siphons her power into them and like augments them into a different ability. So he ends up becoming extremely powerful, and yeah, so it's about him joining this like team, and now he's like helping to fight these like demon things. So yeah, pretty interesting premise, but I did enjoy it, and I don't know, I don't know if I'm going to be picking up volumes anytime soon, but I did find it enjoyable nonetheless. Alright, up next, another one that a friend chose for me. This is the Hatachi Specialties Specialty Tengu's Love, Volume 1 from Tomo Nanao, and it follows a story about this person here, who long time ago, he got lost in the woods, and he promised to find this Tengu lady that he met a long time ago, and now that he's an adult, he falls into that same spot again, and has accidentally, sort of, but kind of, joined in marriage with her, because like the story is that if you go and return to this place, I think it's 3 times or it's twice, then you are going to marry. So it's about their relationship with each other, not really as an actual relationship at first. Definitely feels more of like a kind of a companionship / friendship. Quite interesting. I mean, I did really like this. I thought it was really great. The art is fantastic. The characters are awesome and just really fun to read about, and I think there's going to be a lot of great character growth as we move throughout the series, but I did really enjoy this, and I'm looking forward to reading Volume 2. Alright, up next, I decided to read the first, I guess the Volume 0 of, Kinryo Rock Moon Age Daydream from Bingo Morihashi and Manabu Kishige, and this was awesome. This was really flippin' cool. Follows a story about this world where humans and vampires are now living amongst one another in like cohabitation. Obviously, vampires are not allowed to suck blood, at least like in public, or in like only in certain sections and stuff like that. So it follows a story kind of like a variety of characters. One of them is like this guy who's dating this older vampire woman, and how he kind of gets caught up in like the vampire world in a way. And then also this girl here who's the leader of a band. She's kind of hidden her vampire powers in a way, but does these missions for like the police basically in order to stop like rogue vampires from doing bad things. So it's pretty interesting. It's kind of ridiculous. It's very over the top. The action's really awesome. I actually really like it a lot. But I cannot open it. I did open it during the pickups video, and I forgot that there is a little bit of nudity in this. So yeah, I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to close this, going to keep this book closed. But it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to read Volume 1. Alright, up next, I decided to read the 7th volume of Sha Choten from Akinari Asakura and Takashi Obata. Yeah, this is another fantastic volume. We're in the middle of a pretty big arc, like basically the big tournament arc. A lot of the characters are going through like their performances, and you get to hear some of the backstories for some of these characters that we've never really met before, but you end up rooting for them, and you hope that they do well. You know, people are laughing, really enjoying their stories, and I actually really like this. I thought this has been a really great story, great series, and this 7th volume, it was also very, very good. Alright, up next, I decided to read the 3rd volume of Otaku Vampires Love Bite from Giulietta Suzuki, and what a fun, silly, hilarious series. I really enjoyed this. This has like the cosplaying section, which was really, really flippin' funny. And just overall, just got like some really great art, some just fun characters across the board. And I just really enjoyed it. I think this is a great series. I'm interested to read Giulietta Suzuki's other series, which I believe is called Kami-sama Kiss. I will say that I think I prefer the art style later down the line versus in the beginning of Kami-sama Kiss, because this series looks, I would say, fairly different. She's definitely grown in her art style, so I don't know if I willing to get past that, because it is also a long series. I know it's getting reprinted, but really enjoyed Otaku Vampires Love Bite, and Volume 3 was another great volume. Alright, up next, decided to read the 2 volumes of Revenge of Muflon, Hokufu no Muflon by Ono Yoichiro and Ueno Jiro. This was a series that I kind of picked up because it was cheap, and I kind of saw it. It's a very old series, as you can tell. It's because it's by Raijin, who no longer is a publisher. But what a ridiculous premise. Basically, it follows a story about this comedian here who is like kind of just been like trying to make a fool of himself in a way. Ends up he ends up like kind of threatening an important person in the government, and then when he enters on this plane, it gets hijacked and all this crazy ridiculous hijinks and political stuff happens. It's ridiculous, it's crazy, but it's a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed it, and I think it would be cool to see this get a licensed rescue. I highly doubt it, just because I feel like it's one of those series that's not really popular, or really no one really knows about, but I did actually enjoy it quite a bit, so I think it would be kind of cool to see this get a resurgence. Up next, I decided to read Tomaki and Alan from Fumi Yoshinaga. I talked about this in my FVI for April, that I ended up really enjoying this. I thought this was really fantastic. Follows the story of characters named Tomaki and Alan throughout various parts of history in Japan, whether it's during World War II, whether it's back in like the feudal era, whether it's during modern times. Tells all these different kinds of stories, and there's a lot of really fantastic stories just across the board. I think Fumi Yoshinaga is really great at making a very heartfelt story. Most of the time very bittersweet, especially in this one, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really great. If you want my full opinions, go check out the FVI. Alrighty, into our next stack here. I decided to read Hauntress from Minotaro Mochizuki. This is allegedly a very classic horror manga, and I thought this was really creepy. It's genuinely terrifying. Follows the story about this man who lives in like an apartment complex, and one night he keeps hearing like this like knocking and scratching across like the door next to him, like next to his next door neighbor, and he looks out and he finds this extremely tall woman who is just kind of like, looks like she's looking for whoever lives in that apartment. After he accidentally kind of like says something to her, she changes her obsession from that person to the main character, and just some very terrifying stuff happens, and you get to learn some of the backstory about this character and all this stuff. It's really creepy. It gets me, like, it's like very spine tingling. There's a lot of like really nasty, disgusting moments, but I thought it was really good, and it is a one-shot, so or not a one-shot, but well, it's a one-volume series, so you're gonna have a great time. If you like horror stuff, you really should check this out. This was a really good release. Alright, up next, decided to read volumes 8 and 9 of Kageki Shojo from Kumio Psyche, and finally, I managed to pick up the next couple of volumes of this amazing series. I'm really glad that I did, because now we are officially moving into their second year, going into volume 9, and I am excited to see how these characters are now senpais, and see how they treat the younger students. Sarasa is still amazing, you know, all the characters are still fantastic, and I can't wait to see how this story continues to grow, and hopefully I can find more volumes very soon. Alright, up next, decided to read Murder Princess, Volume 2 from Sekihiko Inoue, and yeah, it was fine. I mean, I was a little disappointed that it just ends the way that it does. It feels very kind of out of the blue, and it feels like the series doesn't really actually finish, unfortunately. But I still think the art is really nice, and you know, it's got some fun parts, got some fun moments, got some pretty solid action, but I am very disappointed with the ending of the story. So I don't know if I can necessarily suggest it. It is only 2 volumes, so if you're looking for something that's like just a little bit of a fun romp that's going to have a pretty poor ending, I think you might enjoy it. Alright, up next, excited to read the second volume of Rainbows After Storms from Luca Kobachi, which I've talked about this series before, because the first volume came out recently, but it follows the story about these 2 girls here who are in a relationship but are trying to keep it on the down low. So it's about their day-to-day lives as they go to school and kind of like try to like flirt and be silly and be cute together. And it's nice. I mean, it's pretty fun. It reminds me a lot of Komi, and funny enough, Luca Kobachi is married to the creator of Komi, which I think is hilarious, because I feel like they kind of feed off of each other in terms of how their stories work and like work with one another. But yeah, this has been a pretty fun one, and I'm excited to read the next one. Alright, up next, Volume 3 of A Brief Moment of Ichika from Natsu Tadano, and oh my goodness, this was so depressing. This last volume, leaves off on a very bittersweet note. I think it has like a very nice kind of like wrap up to the entire story. But if you are looking forward to a happy ending, this is definitely not a happy ending. Follows the story about these two here, who she is a college student who wasn't expected to make it to college, but she ends up going to college and meets this professor of philosophy, I believe. I think it's either philosophy or psychology. I think it's philosophy. But she ends up falling in love with him, and then after he leaves the school because of something, then she ends up pursuing that relationship further, and it's about them kind of developing a relationship with one another. Yes, the premise sounds a little bit weird, but I will say they are both consenting adults, so it's a little bit more flexible. Personally, I still think the power dynamic is a little odd, but it does not affect me as much as other like teacher-student relationships, because at least they're both adults. But yeah, this volume ends extremely depressingly, and but I think it's still a pretty decent read across the board. Alright, up next, Beybladeex Volume 2 from Homura Kawamoto, Hikaru Muno, and Posaka Demizu. Yeah, this is a really fun series. I have a really great time with this. I've always been interested in Beyblade. I've never personally liked playing it per se, but I do think it's really flippin' cool. I think it's a really fun, like, toy line and just kind of like entertaining like game to play. And this series, I think, it encapsulates just how ridiculous and fun Beyblade can be, and I'm excited for that next volume. Alright, up next, decided to read Rai from Salami Mato. This is a one-shot series following the story about this kid here who runs away from home and kind of teams up with this detective in order to avoid being like murdered, basically, or assassinated. And because he's the son of like an extremely important like company and stuff like that. So yeah, he also has psychic powers, which is, you know, just a thing that is in here. It's pretty fun. I actually really liked it. I thought it was just a really fun, easy read. It's very silly. Art style is really good if you like that old school kind of like 90s, early 2000s art style. And yeah, I'm kind of interested to check out Fake, because that is by the same mangaka, and hopefully it's just as good. Alright, up next, Volume 7 of My Girlfriend's Child from Mamoru Aoi. Oh my goodness, if you want to talk about like the most stressful volume in the series, this one might just be it. This volume is like so crazy, very terrifying in a way. It stressed me out, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great, and I am excited to see how this series continues to go, because, oh man, everything with the dad coming in hot is just... It's a lot. But I really enjoyed it, and I thought this was a fantastic volume. Alright, up next, decided to read Flashpoint from Imi Arata. And yes, this follows the story of Imi Arata and his wife's sister, as they kind of like just hang out and do whatever, and then as they get into like kind of like social media and stuff, they accidentally sort of kind of start a somewhat but not really cult. It's it's so ridiculous and over the top, but it feels like it's so real, and like it can actually happen, which is kind of terrifying. This was a really, really great volume. I loved it a lot. I think Imi Arata's art style is really simple, but very entertaining to look at. Just a lot of great moments, a lot of great characters as well. Shinzo Abe and Donald Trump, and just it's hilarious. If you're looking for like kind of like an alternate history but like modern times series, I think this is a really good one. Okay, into the next section we go. We have ourselves Volume 5 of Like a Butterfly from Sue Morishita. If you couldn't tell, I had to drink some water. I was very thirsty. But yeah, Like a Butterfly. Pretty solid series. Finally, we got the confession. We did it. We've done it. We made it before the end of the series. Hallelujah. I'm glad. And yeah, this series continues to be pretty solid. I mean, like, is it gonna blow you away with anything particular? No, not really. But is it just a cute little, like, kind of like romance series just across the board? There's some very likable characters, some great art as usual, and yeah, that's about as much as I can say about it, to be completely honest. Alright, up next, decided to read the first volume of Mobile Fighter G Gundam from Koichi Tokita, Hajime Yarate, and Yoshiyuki Tomino. And yes, this is the story following Daemon Kashu, who is the Gundam fighter from Japan. And it's about this series where like they send basically a bunch of different Gundams from across like the nations to fight each other, and who could become like the best Gundam fighter or something like that. Story's pretty ridiculous. The action's really fun. The Gundam designs are awesome, and I really enjoyed it. But it feels very fast-paced. I don't know if that's different because it's the manga versus the anime, but holy moly, it feels like we are like already in Endgame at the end of Volume 1. I don't know if that's true or not, but we will see. Alright, up next, I decided to read the 11th volume of Akane Banashi from Yuki Suenaga and Takamasa Moe. Yep, just continues to be absolutely amazing. I'm glad that we finally get to see more of, spoiler alert, Akane's father, because we haven't really seen him much throughout this entire series. And yeah, you just get to learn more about the backstory, about what actually happened, and like some of the various other characters that are kind of part of all of this. But it's really great to see Akane grow as a performer, a Rakugo performer. Like, you could tell that she's really coming into her own, and she's becoming her own style of performer in comparison to any other performer in the same like world that they're in. So I really like her character development. I think it's been really great, and I think this volume was absolutely fantastic. Alright, up next, decided to read Pink Candy Kiss. This is volume 1 from Ammy Uumi. Wow, that was a weird mouthful. But follows a story about these two women here who long ago in a distant land were really, really great friends in high school. But then after some kind of situation happens, they've kind of broken off. And then as you graduate high school and move into your adulthood, those things just kind of split up. But after a chance encounter where they meet each other again, they have developed their friendship once again, kind of very quickly, but someone may hold some special feelings. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting premise. I love the art style. Not sure how I feel currently about this relationship that's going on. But yes, it's kind of stressful, but I love the art style. I think the story is going to be quite interesting and kind of talk about topics about like gender equality and gender and same sex couples within Japan, and I think that will be an interesting how it's going to talk about it, especially with how the story currently is. We will see, I suppose. Alright, up next, decided to read the first volume of Gan Bride from Hitomi Takano. This was one of the series that I talked about in the FVI, so if you want my full opinions, go check out that video. But for the TLDR, it was really, really good. I think the mystery is fantastic. The characters are really, really great. Albeit one of them is absolutely ridiculous and kind of crazy, but I love like kind of what's going on just in general in the background. Like, what is this whole Gan Bride activity? I'm excited to find out. Alright, up next, another one that I decided to read for the FBI. This is their volume 1 of Wash It All Away from Mitsuru Hattori, and another really, really great read. I very much enjoyed this false story about this woman here who runs a laundry service in a small town, and it's about her day-to-day kind of like taking care of like the city's residents or the town's residents as she washes their clothes and various other things. Yeah, I just think she's very endearing, a really great main character. Art style is really pretty, and it'll just make you feel calm and just peaceful. It's a really light and breezy read, and I think just about anyone can really enjoy this. Alright, up next, in the complete opposite vein, I decided to read Her Frankenstein from Kawashima Norikazu. Just wanted to point out that this is from Smudge, which is a current, like, smaller publisher kind of thing. I believe it's by Living the Line is like the name of like the overarching thing, but Smudge is kind of like this like new horror manga line, trying to bring like these older horror manga to English print, which is super cool. And this one is really creepy and really weird and just very off-putting in a good way. Follows a story about this young boy who's kind of like the wimp of the family, ends up meeting this rich girl here. Sort of, and it's about like her kind of being like just kind of like a jerk and kind of controlling this boy who is finally getting some attention from someone, like positive sort of attention. So he kind of just follows her around, and after some situations happen, he ends up becoming like her Frankenstein. So it's a very strange plot, but it's really creepy and really terrifying, and I really enjoyed it, and it ends in such a weird, strange way, but I thought it was really, really good and worth reading if you're looking for an older horror manga. Alright, and back to a completely different thing. The Girl with the Sun Paku Eyes, Volume 3 from Shunsuke Sorato. I love this series so much. This series is so cute. They're so adorable. Oh my goodness. And I love that it's like in full color. It's really, really pretty. And spoiler alert, don't continue watching. You skip ahead. They finally confess. Hallelujah. We're going to get 2 volumes of them as a relationship. Blessings upon you and your family. I'm so excited for them, and I love this series. This series has been so much fun. Genuinely, I think it's really, really great. It's a really solid rom-com across the board. Alright, up next, decided to read the first volume of The Climber from Shinichi Sakamoto, Jiro Nita, Yoshio Nabeda, and Hiroshi Takano. This is a extremely popular series that finally got an English release. Hallelujah. And yeah, it was well worth the wait. The art is phenomenal. The story is quite interesting, to be completely honest. The character writing is quite interesting as well. And I'm excited to see how Shinichi Sakamoto's art is going to evolve as we make it through the series, because I've read some of his more recent series and the art is so much more cleaned up, very professional. Climber has some issues here and there. You could tell like it's kind of an older series that he's trying to get his bearings. There's some inconsistencies with how the characters are drawn, but overall I thought this was a fantastic read, and you can get my full opinion on it in the FBI. Alright, up next, decided to read Fall in Love, You False Angels Volume 2 from Koko Uzuki. Yeah, what a cute series. I love this one quite a bit. I think the art style is absolutely gorgeous. The series is very silly, and I love the character designs. It's just a really, really well done manga, and if you're looking for like a rom-com where it's like the best people in the school have their dark sides, then I think you'll really enjoy this one. And yeah, it looks like their relationship may or may not get started sooner than later. Alright, up next, Go With the Clouds, North by Northwest, Volume 7 from Aki Irie. Oh, yes, we finally got another volume. Hallelujah. And yep, it just continues to be an absolutely fantastic series. I do think it's really interesting that we're trying to get into the backstory of the younger brother, now that he's kind of disappeared, and we're trying to figure out and trying to piece together what is going on with him and everything that happened to him. It's been a really interesting, this was a really interesting volume. I think we get to learn more about the mystery. This becomes less of the day-to-day life that we got for the first couple of volumes, so I thought it's been kind of interesting to get more of like the mystery perspective thrown in there. So really enjoyed this volume, and I hope you check out the series if you haven't already. Alright, up next, decided to read Volume 27 of Twin Star Exorcist from Yoshiaki Sukeno. It definitely feels like we are in Endgame. We are at the end of the series. I can feel it. It's on the tip of my tongue. I believe so. There's only 8 more volumes, I think. I think it goes to 35, I want to say. But yeah, happy to have read another volume of this really fun action series, and I'm interested to see how it's going to end. And last but not least, I decided to read the first 5 volumes of Asadora from Naoki Urasawa, and wow, what a fun time. Holy moly. I haven't read a Naoki Urasawa work in a bit, just because like my wife is the one who owns most of them, and she's currently trying to finish 20th Century Boys because she collects the singles. We're missing volume 19, so I haven't really continued reading that one. And then with Pluto, I haven't read it just yet. Monster, another one of those ones where she's missing 1 volume. I think it's volume 6 of the singles, not the big one. So I've been really paused on a lot of those, but I decided to pick up Asadora because she's been saying that like this is a nice return to form for him, and yeah, it's really, really fun. It follows a story about this girl, this girl here named Asada, and she is like the daughter of like a family of 14 people, or I guess 16, because I think she has 14 siblings total, I think. And after a massive disaster hits her hometown, she befriends, sort of, she gets kidnapped and ends up befriending this former pilot, and it's about them trying to figure out what happened to the, kind of what happened to the world, and she develops a love for flying and a love for planes, so that's what she decides to go into as she becomes older. It's a pretty interesting plot. There's a lot going on, as per usual, as you would expect from a Naoki Urasawa work. A lot of characters just doing various things, and you kind of have to keep track of everything, but I really love the mystery that's already been posed, like what was the giant thing that caused that natural disaster at the beginning of the first volume, and what is it going to do throughout the series. because we just don't know. But overall, I really, really like this. I think it's really, really good. And if you like 20th Century Boys, I think you're really going to love this series. And that is going to be it for the reading log. Yes, sirree, Bob. We have finished talking about everything that I read in April 2025. Well, have you read any of these series? Let me know in the comments below. Or what have you been reading? Let me know in the comments below. And yes, you know what to do. You can like, you can comment, you can subscribe. Those are all amazing things. And I love it when you do that. It means so much to me. The support is phenomenal. And we are inching ever closer to 5,000 subscribers, which is flipping crazy. So thank you so much for all of your support. And yep, that's going to be it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.